Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Blissful Living Podcast. I am Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, but you can call me the Queen of Feeling Fabulous. And I have a great show in store for you today. I have a phenomenal guest, and we are going to be talking about raising the bar towards the next chapter of your life. So check that out. But while you're like letting that ruminate in your head, let me take care of some business. First of all, I like to tell all of you to find a place to sit, get something to write with, because you want to capture the nuggets of gold that the guest is going to share with you so you can implement them into your life immediately. Get your favorite beverage. Today, I'm drinking some iced tea. Tell your family to give you a few moments so you can have some time for yourself. And lastly, if you love the show, please subscribe to the show and share it with every woman on the planet that you know, because the more we can get the wisdom out to us ladies, the more we can stand in our greatness and be those brave, bold, and unstoppable queens that I know we all are. And we can come together to change the world and make it a better place. So while you're doing that, let me take care of business. I want to thank the first sponsor, Blissful Living for You at blissfullliving.com. They tackle holistically to help you transform your wellness, wisdom, and wealth. Not just so you can have that today, but so you can have all of that and leave a lasting legacy for your future generations. And if you really are like, I know it's like in the middle of the year, just about, you ready to get your body right so you can step out in that bikini and look super tight. You know what I'm talking about, ladies. Then you want to check out the detoxification programs and all the good programs that they have that are holistically based to help you to look as fine and fabulous as you want to look, either in the summertime or all year long. So check them out at blissfullliving.com. The next sponsor that I want to mention is the fabulous telecommunications installation company located in the heart of Silicon Valley, the Golden State of California. They specialize in installing voice, data, and fiber optic cabling, and it is All Day Cable, Inc. They've been in business since 1990. Woman-owned, minority-owned company. In fact, they're the first woman-owned, minority-owned telecommunications installation company in the United States, and they service small, medium, and large-size businesses. So if you have a need for voice, data, fiber optic cabling, or anything all network distribution, audio, video, speakers, monitors, cameras, any of that kind of stuff, so that when you connect with your customer on the other end, you make the connection right the first time, then you want to have a powerhouse company like All Day Cable, Inc. that is killing it with helping you to be that go-to company that has the right connections. And you can check them out at www.alldaycableinc.com. Okay, so let me tell you about the guest. Her name is Regina Martin, and she is a phenomenal lady. She has a company called Dare to Dream Motivational Speaking and Coaching, and it's an LLC. And so let me tell you a little bit about Regina. She has a decade in the higher education arena and inspires audiences to dare to dream. As an educator, she takes her expertise from the classroom to the stage. She also shared her experience in speaking in Trio and Gear Up platforms, and we'll have to learn more about that. She successfully completed training with Cornell University's Women Entrepreneurship Program and was also highlighted as the featured speaker on the Leadership Experience Tour hosted by founder Sean Fair. Now, she is the co-author of the Fire Girl Code of Conduct, 12 Laws to Living Her Life on Fire. Empowers women to control their destiny, but not only that, she has a recent release called You Belong Here, and is transitioning to success high to college education, and it's available on her website and on Amazon platform. And so our conversation today is going to be about raising the bar towards the next chapter in your life. And so I want to welcome Regina Martin to the Blissful Living Podcast. How are you?
I am amazing. Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you. I always love having guests that talk about raising the bar for ourselves. I think sometimes we get a little complacent, we get comfortable, and then all of a sudden we have this stagnation and we realize, oh, dang, there's really more that I want to do, but I've been so comfortable and now I don't really know how to get out there and do it. So I want to ask you, the very first question is, with regards to all the beautiful things and the fabulous things that you've done, what is your why today?
Well, first of all, once again, thank you for having me on your platform. And the why for me today is not allowing society to dictate what the next chapter of my life should look like. Society says that you go to school. Society says that you get a job. Society says that you get that job. And then society says that you work that job for a period of time till you are ready to retire. But a lot of people are starting to realize that society may have gotten it wrong. You don't have to stop dreaming in what your next chapter is going to look like just because society says the end of the road is at a certain age. I tell people all the time, just because you're in your 60s, that doesn't mean that that's the end of the road for you. So one of the tag phrases that I have on my platform is your 9 to 5 is not your final destination. And, you don't have to put a period at the end of your sentence. You could put a comma there, which demonstrates continuation. And I think that a lot of people are really leaning into that conversation now because we understand that you don't have to stop doing what you want to do. Or maybe there's something you've always wanted to do, but never leaned into it because you were so busy building the legacy of somebody else. When you
I love it. Hold tight. We've got to take our first commercial break, but the conversation is going to be phenomenal, y'all. So hang tight. We will be back to the Blissful Living Podcast in just a few moments. All righty, this is Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, the queen of feeling fabulous. And I am talking to Regina Martin, and we're talking about our whys and why dare to dream. And when we left before the break, where she was talking about how people just kind of get in their job and realize they've been there for a while and, they were comfortable. But now that they've been doing it for a while, they really want to explore other opportunities that might light up their soul. So, tell me, because you've been in education, and it is, I want to say it's pretty prevalent in the African-American community, that we're told as children, go to school, get a good education, get a good job, stay in that job, retire, you may have some good benefits, and then you can do other stuff. I'm a believer in not doing it. I mean, yes, go to school, get a good education, but I'm a firm believer that if you have something you want to do, and it doesn't, necessarily follow the path of you getting a good, quote unquote, government job, then you should do it. But what are your thoughts about that?
So interestingly enough, before I started the journey in education, I used to work for the federal government. I worked for the federal government for several years, and I actually liked my job. I loved my job, but then life happened. My then boss decided that she wanted to retire. And, I was happy for her. She encouraged me to apply for her role, which I did. And what happened was, full transparency, I applied for the job. I did not get the job. They brought someone else in. But here's the caveat. They wanted me to train the new person. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So at that point, I had just obtained my bachelor's degree. So the wheels started turning then. It's like, okay, I started making some really rookie mistakes because I was so upset about the fact that I had put in this work and I thought I was qualified to get the role. I started making some rookie mistakes. So I made the decision to either get out before they got me or just walk away from it. That was the hardest decision I ever made. And I say that all to say that you could be in a great job making great money, but sometimes you have to know when to get off the exit ramp and start something else. I was introduced to education because of my daughter. She was in a college readiness program based here in Connecticut, and I went on a college tour with her. And then shortly thereafter, I started working for the organization, and I loved it. And the director had encouraged me to go back to school and get my master's because she saw that I was good at what I was doing. And I did. And I went and got my master's in education. Now, I do want to tell you that I was a part of Trio and Gear Up. I've never spoken for them, done platforms for them. However, that is about to change. I'm actually going to be doing some workshops for them upcoming. So I do have that. I have that in my back pocket. And as I mentioned to you off camera, I just completed my first commencement speech this past Saturday, which was incredible. So it put me in rooms and put me in front of people that really took notice. And it's really a great feeling when somebody says, when you introduce yourself, "Oh, I know who you are." That's like, "Oh, okay. So you know about me." So they've done their homework, you know, and
Yeah.
that's it. That was really a aha moment for me.
It's most appreciative when you step out and, take that big front and center stage. And after you're
Mhm,
done,
mhm.
pouring into people, basically, someone comes up and says, "You know what? I recognize you. I heard about you." And, here you are, you thinking, just to me doing this in this small capacity. But in today's world, you never know who sees you, who hears about you, or someone else may have spoken about you. And so it's really cool to have that validation when, you're thinking, I'm just going to go up here, do this commencement speech, empower these people, empower the audience, and then be done and put that on my resume as, place I spoken at. So I love those kind of stories. And I love how you said you were in your government job for a while. And I know this happens often to people where, the boss will retire or whatever, move on, and then they want the subordinate to train the boss, the replacement, and like, no, you should have, if you want me to train, you should have promoted me. But it
Yeah,
happens a lot in today's society, and
that part.
yeah, it's pretty sad.
It
It's
is.
pretty sad. So now I want to ask you this. Um, who do you want people to see when they see you speak? Particularly because you're talking about, raising the bar towards the next chapter of your life. Who do you want people to see, and what do you want them to take away from when they see you?
Who I want them to see is someone who is humble, someone who is unapologetic, and someone who is firm in their beliefs in regards to the journey that I'm trying to take people on. I want people to lean into those conversations and understand that I'm not speaking just to be based off of words on paper. I'm speaking from experience. And I want people to really see my character and see that I don't need to be the loudest person in the room to have impact. And I want people to be drawn into that, because lots of times when you begin a journey of any sort, you feel like you've got to be seen, but you can be seen, and you can be impactful without saying a word. And that is the thing that I feel I want people to see in me, and that I am a person of compassion. I am a person who has empathy, and I'm a person who really wants to pour into people and make a difference.
I love it. It's so true that you don't have to be loud and boisterous to be seen.
Mhm.
Back in the early days, when I first started speaking about 15, maybe 20 years ago, um, I would just walk into a room and observe the room and just go to my little seat. I kind of like to sit up in the front, or, but just take my little seat. And over the course of several months, I became friends with a really well-known, high impact speaker. She had a program, lots of programs. She's worldwide. And she told me, she said, "You're so regal." And I was like, okay. She goes, "When you come into the room, people stop and pay attention to you." And I'm like, "Really?" And she said, "Yeah." She goes, "I want you to start paying attention when you come into the room, how people stop and pay attention to you." She said, "It's not because you're not loud, you're not boisterous, but you come in and you command you command you find your seat, you take, but it's just something about your presence and your je ne sais quoi that makes people take notice." And she said, "I've had several of my speakers that have been on stage, and you've been at the events, and they always ask, who is that girl? Who is that Black woman with the freckles? And she always has to say, oh, that's Rochel. She's a queen of feeling fabulous. And so it was really eye-opening to me, because that wasn't what my goal was. I was just coming in to sit and, and once she told me that, I started owning it, but not in a boisterous way, still doing what I did, but I started being more accepting of the fact that someone's paying attention, and you never know who's in the room that's paying attention to you. That might be the ticket to your next $25,000 sale from the stage or something like that. So bottom line is, you guys, just go with the flow, do what you want to do. Be yourself. Don't try to be like anybody else, because you'll get more recognition when you're yourself versus trying to act like anybody else. Now, doggone it, we got to take another commercial break, but we will be right back with the Blissful Living Podcast as me, Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, is talking to Regina Martin. We'll be right back, y'all. Give us a minute. Okay, we are back to the Blissful Living Podcast, and I'm Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, the Queen of Feeling Fabulous, talking to Regina Martin. And Regina, when it comes to raising the bar towards the next chapter of your life, what is a piece of wisdom that you would share, that you want to share with those that are listening to us, that are watching us, that actually helps them to raise the bar towards their next chapter in their life?
Surrounding yourself with people who want to see you win. You have to make sure that you are very meticulous about the circle that you create, because you have the power to create it. The people that you hang around can either support you or drain you. And that is something that a lot of people make the mistake of doing. You have people in your circle that they hang on, and they're waiting to see you fail. So that's why I say it's so impactful to surround yourself with people who want to see you win. And you have to make sure that those conversations that you're having in those circles are impactful and they're insightful, and that they're going to help you as well as help others.
Wow. Another set of words of wisdom. Is there something like, oftentimes we have a sphere of influence, so to speak, our people that surround us, and but not oftentimes are we able to decipher those that are the wolves in sheep's clothing. Is there something that you can share with the listeners and the viewers that might help them to be more aware, more insightful to those wolves in sheep clothing?
Well, as a woman of faith, I remain prayerful at all times, because I never know who I'm going to encounter. I never know who's going to be in the room. So my prayer has always been, every time I get on the stage to speak, is that let me pour into someone that I can provide an impact to. Let me make a difference and if, and put me in a room with someone of influence. And that's not me being full of myself. It's just me being acutely aware. My conversations as of lately, I have been very careful about, what I talk about, to whom I talk to, because the thing is, when you're preparing to take things up the next level, as you said, there's always going to be a wolf around the corner. Just as soon as your blessings are overflowing in abundance, there's going to be somebody else that's going to rat-tat on your door to try to bring you down or critique you or make you feel less than. And most importantly, you've got to have a very strong mindset, which speaks to the people you surround yourself with. Your character is on display every time you step on a stage, every time you walk in a room. Your character, your legacy is in question, because everybody's going to want to know, okay, so what's next? And one of my other friends used to, on another platform, she said something that was very resonating with me. She said, do it scared.
Yeah.
Do it scared. Don't, because if you let those voices in your head get in your head, you're not going to propel to where you need to be. And you've got to be you have to be centered. You have to be centered. You got to kill out the white noise.
I love that. I love that. Again, wonderful words of wisdom. And I like, do it scared, because when you're scared, your senses are more in tune.
Mm-hmm.
You're more you're more sensitive to the changing vibes of the people you engage with. And we've all had those experiences where you're engaging and you just get a vibe about somebody, good or bad, right? And so you know how to pivot it and go. So I love that. With regards to the legacy and raising the bar to create a legacy, can you share two things that the viewers and listeners could do to really begin laying the foundation for raising the bar to create their legacy?
You have to be able to establish a goal. One of the tenets in my platform, Dare to Dream Motivational Speaking, consists of goal setting. In order for you to raise the bar, you have to have a goal in mind and where you want to take that goal. I had the fortune of being referred to a very good book called the Minds. I can't remember the name per se, but it was talking about the mindset of the middle class versus the millionaire. Middle class people, they think day to day, minute to minute. Millionaires plan from decade to decade.
Yeah.
So I say that to say, it's a general question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? You got to start planning your 5 years yesterday. You have to start goal setting your 10 years yesterday. You have to say, okay, I want to be here. I want to surround myself with this audience. I want to be able to build. But again, network and collaboration is something that is key. And relationships are the new currency. The relationships that you build in those circles that you're trying to be influential in, it could lead you to, just like you said, your next paid 6-figure gig. But the thing is, if you're not in the right mindset, if you're not in the right space to receive that, and sometimes when you're in the room, sometimes it's best to listen first and speak later. Sometimes we talk ourselves right out of a possibility because we talk too much. We want to try to be big and bad and influential and look important. And the person that might have offered you that 6-figure contract be like, yeah, she's not what we're looking for. Sometimes listening is just as impactful as speaking.
When I was young, I had a teacher, I was a talker in the classroom, and she always used to say, Rochel Marie, God gave you 2 ears for a reason. You're supposed to listen more than you talk. And, I was young and I was like, but she's absolutely right. And what you're saying is absolutely right. Be careful who you share your words of wisdom with, your dreams, your legacy, because there's people out there that are not, and they're in your circle of your sphere of influence that are not with you. They want to see you fail. So if you talk too much, you give them the ammunition to set up the inconveniences that will make it harder for you to succeed. And I think that's just so very powerful with regards to what we're saying. I got to take one more quick break. We'll be right back to the Blissful Living Podcast. Give us a minute, y'all. All righty, it's Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, the Queen of Feeling Fabulous, here on the Blissful Living Podcast. And I've got time for one more quick question with Regina Martin. Now, we're daring to dream and we want to create our legacy. And, you talked about, how millionaires think, but I want to take it a step further with regards to billionaires. They don't think, incrementally ultra specific. They have people that they can give a big ideal to, and those people make it happen. And I think we all need to start thinking that way. How or what would you suggest to those that are viewing us and listening to us? What would you suggest a way that they can start doing that today without feeling like they're expanding beyond their reach?
You don't have to know everything. There is someone out there that knows something that you're trying to build. Maximize that relationship. That is something that I had to learn early on. I was trying to do everything. I was trying to feel like I had to know everything in order to build my business. But then I realized, okay, if there's somebody who has been an author, I can reach out to that person and find out how to be an author and how to craft my book. If I need to learn some motivational speaking tips, reach out to somebody who has a platform that works with speakers. So it's important that you go into it knowing that you don't have to know everything to start your business or to fuel your dreams. There are plenty of people out there. Google is your best friend. All you got to do is just go to Google and type in who does this or how can I connect with this, and putting yourself in professional settings where networking and stuff like that. Sometimes you can go to a happy hour, cocktail hour if that's what you wish to do, or you can connect with your local chamber of commerce in your town or city or state and be around the movers and shakers that are already doing what you're aspiring to do. I think what happens is we make it hard for ourselves because we're trying to do everything, and it's not necessary.
I love it. I love this. Okay, you all, we are at our time for this show, but wonderful words of wisdom. You don't have to do it all by yourself. Google, have a bigger vision beyond the little intricate parts, and don't get too bogged down in those intricacies, but expand your vision to go beyond 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Where would you like to see? Because that is when you're able to begin to start creating the legacy that you want to leave for your family and your future generations. And so it's been a pleasure having you, Regina, on the show. You all, we will have her information in the show notes. So if anything she said resonates with you, or you just want to connect with her and say, hey, I saw you on the Blissful Living show, or I heard you on the Blissful Living podcast, you can do that. All right, y'all. If you like the show, please subscribe to it. Share the show with everyone you love and care about. The more we can get this information out to women, the better it is that we women can unite and become the change agents to make this world a better place. I am Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson. I want to thank our sponsors, Blissful Living for You at Blissful Living, the number 4, the letter U.com, as well as our sponsor, All Day Cable Inc. at All Day Cable Inc.com. Until next time, you all, be healthy, be wealthy, and have a mindset of empowering not just yourself, but those around you. You never know who might grab your hand and lift you up from the dollar club to the $1 billion club. And I'm going to leave it right there. Until next time, y'all, be healthy, wealthy, and wise. Bye.